I'm Alyssa, and today I'm sharing with you my, can you guess it, February 2021 favorites. Belated as usual. I'm sorry guys, I really have no excuses anymore. I can say I'm depressed, which I am. I have anxiety, which I do. But it's really no excuse, so shame on me. And thank you guys for watching this, by the way, if you're watching it, because that means the world to me. If you're new to my channel and don't know what my favorites are, that's where I list my favorite movies, TV shows, video games, books of the past month. Sometimes I sprinkle in some extra stuff like I'm going to do with this video. And yeah, just sit down, relax, maybe grab your phone, pencil, pen and paper. Pen and paper? That's a new word. I've had issues speaking today, by the way, so forgive me. And just enjoy. Maybe you'll find something you want to check out, and that would make me super happy. Let me know what you think about it if you do. First off, before I get started with any of the categories, I am so in love with my new tattoo. This is Toru Honda from Fruits Basket, and this is from a pivotal scene where she carries Kyo-soma after he transforms into a beast. And I did get it colored differently than the book, the manga, which I will show you the original drawing. So this is the original drawing right here, and obviously you can tell I changed Kyo's color, but that's why she doesn't have feet or anything like that, and why her knees look the way they do, because I wanted it to look like Natsuki Takaya's original artwork. And I love the scene, I love the anime, the manga, I love Fruits Basket in general. This is Fruits Basket number 3. I love Fruits Basket, and I got a tattoo. It's my first drawing tattoo, besides like all the rest are words. And it's the first one that has any kind of coloring, so I am so in love with you. Looks so good. I have to hold it awkwardly, but I love it. Now that we've gotten the tattoo out of the way, which was done by Courtney Quick, she is really awesome. I'll leave the Instagram page down below so you can check out her work and the tattoo parlor's work. But let's talk about movies. Let's talk about you and me. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. The first movie I watched in February was Death with Me, which you can see I gave 2.5 out of 5 stars, but I put a heart next to it because it was so enjoyably cheesy that I enjoyed it. There we go. It's not a great movie by any means, but it's really fun. And I've had the biggest girl crush on Maggie Q since I first saw her in Nikita whenever it came out on the CW. I watched all of Nikita and I loved it so much, and I've loved her ever since. She's gorgeous. But this movie is by Darren Lynn Bousman. I didn't look up the pronunciation of the last name. That is bad on me. He has directed some of the Saw movies, and it's just about a couple that go to this tropical island and they have a wild night where they drink and they black out, and then they watch this video where the husband, played by the least popular Hemsworth brother, Luke Hemsworth, ends up killing Maggie Q's character. That is not a spoiler. And they have to figure out what's happened, why are they watching this on tape, how is she still alive? And I mean, it's cheesy, it's convoluted, but it's fun. It's on Netflix if you want to watch it. It's only 95 minutes long. It's not anything that's going to blow your mind. It does have some twists and turns that are pretty unique, and the cast is pretty good for what this is. It's just the whole thing doesn't gel together well, but it's so entertaining that you really can't fault it for that too much, if you get my drift. It's like a really enjoyable, cheesy B-movie that really doesn't make sense, but it's still fun to watch if you catch my drift. The second thing I watched was Ride Your Wave, and I was really hesitant to watch this because I'd seen so many people say it was terrible, that it was boring, but I loved it. As you can see, I get it 4.5 out of 5 stars. This is another film from Masaaki Yuasa, and oh my gosh, it made me cry so much. It's about this couple, Hinako and Minato. They meet, they fall in love, something tragic happens, but they are trying to stay together, and they need to know how are they going to stay together, how are they going to get through what seems impossible to be together. It's just, oh my gosh, it's so emotional. It's really about true unconditional love, forging friendships, finding yourself. It's just really beautiful. The animation is stunning. I pretty much love all of Masaaki Yuasa's work, and I really love this. It's on HBO Max if you're in the United States, and it's really worth your time to check out. It has an English dub, so if you don't like reading subtitles, you can watch it dubbed. It's really good. I really enjoyed it, and for the most part, the people I follow seem to think it was above average. There's 1 2.5 star rating. But I love this story, and I will definitely watch it again. I really want to own it on Blu-ray now because it was so good and so touching. I then watched Night Stalker, The Hunt for a Serial Killer, 4 out of 5 stars. I'm not going to put this in the TV section because even though I enjoyed it, it feels more like I think it was 6-hour documentary. Maybe it was 4 episodes. 4 to 6 hour documentary. Let me just leave it at that. It's really just about the Night Stalker case, the different victims of his, what happened. This is a pretty gruesome show. They do show real crime scene photos, and they only like put an X over the victims' faces with tape. The rest you can see, so if you're squeamish, probably not the best series for you. But if you're interested in Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, this is a really good series to watch, and it does focus on the 2 lead police officers that were pretty much in charge of the case, how they discovered who was the culprit and what they found at the crime scenes. And it's an interesting look. I do see why some people don't like it because it does feature the police officers heavily, but I thought it was really interesting to hear from the perspective of someone that was actually there, that actually was trying to solve this case, and it was interesting. So it's worth a watch. It's on Netflix if you want to watch it. But yeah, if you're squeamish or don't like, true crime documentaries, it's not going to be your jam, but if you do, watch it. The next one I watched is one that most people hate. I didn't think it was that bad, actually. It's Earwig and the Witch. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. This is Studio Ghibli's first CG feature film, and it's directed by Goro Miyazaki, who is Hayao Miyazaki's son. And I gave it 3 out of 5, which is average. It's an average movie. The CG does not look bad at all. I mean, if you watch Studio Ghibli films, you're going to you are going to be used to the beautiful, luscious, hand-drawn animation, and this is such a departure from that that's going to be like a shock to your system, and it doesn't feel like a Studio Ghibli film, to be honest, but it is really cute, and I do think the ending sucks. I will say that. But it's worth watching. There are so many adorable moments, and just seeing Earwig as a character, she is a little bratty, to be honest. But it's fun to watch her and see how she interacts with the Mandrake and how she's trying to get back to her childhood friend that she left behind at the orphanage after she was adopted by this witch. And it's a fun ride. It's not anything that's going to blow your mind, but it's fun and cute. And it's a good family movie, so it's on HBO Max if you're in the US. I then watched Little Fish, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I love this movie. This has Olivia Cooke and Jack O'Connell in it, and it's set in a society where a pandemic is happening, but not the one that's currently going on. In this universe in the film, people are slowly just losing their memories. It's kind of like they're developing Alzheimer's, but it hits anyone. They don't know who it's going to target. And the film follows a couple who, one of them starts to get this sickness, and they start forgetting things, people, even each other. And you see how that affects their loved ones, how it affects them. It's really going to hit hard if you know someone that has Alzheimer's or dementia. So this will hit harder if you have some knowledge or experience with it. It's still a really good film, though. The performances are amazing. Not a lot of people talk about this film because I don't think they know about it, but it's really worth watching. It's on demand right now, and I think it's a film more people need to see that they really don't know about, so give Little Fish a watch. It is emotional, but it's really worth checking out. I then watched Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, which I believe I talked about this series last month in my favorites. If not, you'll hear it later on in the TV section, but I gave it 5 out of 5 stars because I love this anime, and I cannot wait for the film Mugen Train to come out, and then the second season to come out. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for Demon Slayer Season 2 and the movie. God dang it, every one of these videos just wrecks my throat. I then watched Palmer, 4.5 out of 5 stars. Really pleasantly surprised by this film. It's on Apple TV Plus, and it stars Justin Timberlake as a man who gets out of prison and moves in with his grandmother, and next to his grandmother's house lives a couple and the woman's young son, and the son's in a really bad home situation. His mom and her boyfriend leave him constantly, So Palmer, played by Justin Timberlake's grandmother, June Squibb, she is so adorable, often takes care of this little boy. But the boy is unique. He doesn't care about gender ideals. He loves unicorns and princesses and fairies, and he's not ashamed of that. And it's so refreshing to see a movie that features a child that's not afraid to be themselves and that is encouraged to be themselves. And yes, it does show him being bullied, which is heartbreaking, but I just think it's a really positive message they impart about accepting people for who they are and not judging others. And I just think it's a really beautiful movie. Justin Timberlake did a great job as Palmer. And yeah, if you have Apple TV Plus, check it out. It's really worth watching. I then watched Fooly Cooly, or Fooly Cooly, however you want to say it. 3 stars. I mean, it's an anime series. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but the animation style is really good. And the fact that it just breaks all these, you know, genre expectations and blows them to crap is really impressive. But the thing is, the story is so jumbled and there are really pervy elements, and I don't like that. I didn't like the story. I don't even know what the frick was going on the whole time. It's only 6 episodes, but it felt way longer. And I don't say that about a lot of anime because most of it goes by in a flash like that. This one dragged. This seemed like it was like a 30 episode series when it was really 6. So I did not like Fooly Cooly, but I know a lot of people love it, so don't take my word for it. I just didn't gel with it that much, but I do appreciate the art style and how it pushed the boundaries. Next one was one that also really surprised me, and that was Greenland. 4 out of 5 stars. This is a disaster movie starring Gerard Butler. Hearing that, you automatically think, oh, it's gonna be crap. But it's not. This actually puts a refreshing spin on the disaster movie kind of trope that you have in your head, like the idea of a disaster movie. And it's just about this family that gets selected to go to this secret bunker because a meteor is going to hit Earth and destroy the planet. And everyone's just kind of like, it's dog eat dog. This family's trying to get to safety. Complications keep arising. And they're just trying to get to safety. And it's really entertaining. I really like the way they told the story and all the different things that this family has to go up against. It was really entertaining, so fun, and emotional, and I do recommend you watch it because it's one of Gerard Butler's better movies today since he first broke out, you know. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. I like the director's previous film as well. I really enjoyed Greenland. Some people don't, as you can see, but I thought it was really just refreshing. I then watched Follow Me, which is also on Hulu, but if you watch it on Hulu, it's called No Escape, so be wary that it's got 2 different titles. 3 out of 5. It's not a great movie, I will admit that, but it's entertaining. It's just about this group of friends. One is a social media influencer played by Keegan Allen, who was Toby in Pretty Little Liars, and he is so different from Toby in this movie, guys. So different. But this group of friends, led by Keegan Allen, whatever his character's name is, Cole, they're traveling, he's vlogging for his YouTube channel, or his Instagram account, whatever, and they go to an escape room, but it's not exactly what they think an escape room is going to be. That's all I'm going to say. It's kind of like Saw, but for young adults, I would say. It's a YA Saw movie, Saw Light. Again, it's not great, but the ending's what made me bump it up half a star because the ending is genius. It's entertaining. It'll kill like 88 minutes. It's less than half an hour. I mean, hour and a half. I told you I can't talk today. It's worth watching just for fun. I mean, it's not gonna blow your mind. It's not like super impressive besides the ending, but it's fun. It's just fun. And if you like Saw, movies of that ilk, check it out. You might like it, but be aware, it's called No Escape on Hulu. I then watched Judas and the Black Messiah, and I don't think I liked this movie as much as most people did. Still gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars, and I thought the performances were amazing. Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield, oh my gosh, they killed it in this movie as Fred Hampton and Bill O'Neill. Cannot remember Lakeith's character's name. It's about the true story of Fred Hampton, the leader of the Black Panther Party, and what happens to him, how he is assassinated. And it is very emotional, but it plays a little too closely to, you know, biopic standards for my taste. Daniel Kaluuya is rightfully winning Best Supporting Actor at a lot of award shows now for this film because he did a phenomenal job. I did get a little teary at some points, but again, I think it follows too closely to biopic tropes and regulations for their kind of, you know, formula. I wish it would have changed things a little bit around just to make it more original feeling, even though it is, you know, based on a true story and it is telling a true story, so you can't really be original, but still, yeah, it's still 3.5 out of 5 for me, but a lot of people gave it a higher score. Watch it for yourself. Next, I watched the original Wrong Turn. It was decent. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be, in both the literal sense and the figurative sense. I thought it was going to be a lot gorier than it was, which it's not very gory. I thought it was going to be way more terrible than it was. It's mostly kind of just, some parts are really boring, to be honest. But, I mean, there are exciting moments where you're like, oh yeah, this is picking up, and then it goes, oh, back to boring. It's okay. There's a reason why it spawned, like, I think 7 movies since. It's fun. It's about, you know, hillbillies just finding these stupid young adults that are in their woods and hunting them down one by one. It's dumb. It's dumb. And it's definitely something you'll see on the Sci-Fi Channel, like, a bunch, or you used to. But it's fun. I say that about so many cheesy B-movies, okay? I'm sorry. I need to get a better lexicon going on here. I then watched the original When a Stranger Calls, and I didn't really care for it. 2.5 out of 5 stars. And that's probably my fault, because I assumed it was just a straight horror film. The first 20 minutes are freaking fantastic. And it's really tension-filled. You don't know what's going on. Have you checked on the children? But after the first 20 minutes, it kind of just loses steam and becomes a procedural film. It's just about these cops trying to solve a case that is similar to what happened years and years ago. And it didn't feel like it melded together well. It just felt like 2 separate entities, and that's why I gave it 2.5, because it does not feel like the same movie, and it's really sad. I don't know if the remake, which I know a lot of people hate, I don't know if that changes anything. Let me know if I should check out the remake of When a Stranger Calls, but I didn't really care for the original. The next series is a series, and I will talk about it in the TV portion, but that is Kokushikoto. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. It is fantastic. And then I watched Monster Hunter, and I will admit I am a sucker for Paul W.S. Anderson's films. I love every single Resident Evil movie. He directed 4 out of the 6. I loved Event Horizon. I have not seen Mortal Kombat, so I can't actually talk about that. I really liked Alien vs. Predator. I mean, I like his movies, okay? They're cheesy, but they're fun. And this is what Monster Hunter is. And this is based off the video game by Capcom. And I can't really say if it follows anything in the video game too closely because I've never played a Monster Hunter title. I do know that some of the creatures are in the games, and oh my gosh, the creatures look amazing in this movie, guys. Oh my gosh, the creature design's phenomenal. And of course, Mila Jovovich is in this film. She's the director's wife. But she's gorgeous and badass as always. You see Tony Jaa and Ron Perlman just kicking ass, taking names. And it definitely sets itself up to have a sequel. I don't know if it will get one because I don't know how well it did. But I really enjoyed it for what it was. It's a lot of fun action set pieces. Dialogue's not great, the story's not great, but the action is just incredible. The creatures, again, look stunning. And, I mean, I always love Mila Jovovich, and again, I like Paul W.S. Anderson films, even though they aren't the best. I really like his films, so I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, just because it's just adrenaline, pure adrenaline. I then watched Saint Maud, which was an incredible horror film. Not really horror, actually. It's much more of a psychological thriller, but this is the first feature film from the director Rose Glass, and I think she did a phenomenal job with this. This stars Murphy Clark, I think that's how you pronounce her name, and Jennifer Ale. And Murphy Clark plays a nurse who is assigned to take care of Jennifer Ale's character, who used to be a dancer, but now she has cancer. But Murphy Clark's character is very religious, and she is really consumed with the fact that Jennifer Ale's character, she thinks her soul is damned. She's trying to save it. She's trying to, you know, get her to heaven when she dies, and Jennifer Aniston's character is just like, I don't care. So you see Murphy Clark's character, let me look her name up. Maud. She is Maud. How did I forget that? You see Maud, you know, going through all these different things and being really, really obsessed with religion. Like, obsessed to an unhealthy degree. And you see how this takes a toll on her, how it takes a toll on Amanda, her patient, everyone around Maud. And it is shocking. It doesn't really rely on cheap jump scares. There are 2 jump scares, at least for me, and they weren't cheap. They came out of nowhere, and they were done really well, to be honest. This is a very artsy film, and it's not going to be for everyone. Again, this is an A24 film, so some people, they hear A24, they're like, no, artsy, And some people are like, oh yeah, hell yeah, A24. I'm kind of like, I like most A24 films. Some are kind of, but this one was good. I really liked it. Definitely one you want to watch multiple times to pick up on things you missed beforehand. But yeah, it's not going to be for everyone, but if you like A24's horror films, I think you'll like Saint Maud. Someone's mowing their ding-dang grass. I'm sorry, I'm still filming. I don't care. Just ignore it, please, sorry. I'm sorry. I then rewatched Bloodshot with my dad because he had not seen it, and plus I'm like, okay, it's got Sam Heughan in it. Let me look at Sam Heughan, okay? Just let me look. Let me look at Sam Heughan. He's my other husband. So, this is not a great movie. It's a lot of fun, though. There we go again with the fun. It's Vin Diesel being Vin Diesel, but he's this person that his blood has been replaced with nanobites? Is that what they're called? That just heal him. He's pretty much invincible, and he is kind of kidnapped by Guy Pearce's mad scientist character, and he joins Asa Gonzalez's character, Katie, Sam Heughan's character, Jimmy Dalton. You know, there's some other people. I'm sorry, I just pay attention to Sam Heughan, okay? But it's really fun, and you just see Vin Diesel, you know, doing his thing. There's a lot of ass kicking going on. The final fight is my favorite part of this dang movie. It's just, my dad really liked it. He really liked Bloodshot. But it's a 3 out of 5 for me. Some of the special effects are good, some are but it's fun. Every time I say fun, take a shot. Don't do it. You'll die. You'll die if you do it. Don't do it. I'm kidding. The next one I watched was Anohana, the flower we saw that day, which again will be talked about in the TV portion, but that has 2 out of 5 stars. Also watched Crime Scene, The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel. Not going to mention it in the TV section because it's not a favorite, but it is 3.5 out of 5 stars, and I think if you really know the case that happened here, it's not going to be as interesting to you. But for me, I didn't know about the Alyssa Lamb case that much. I knew she disappeared in the elevator, but I didn't know what happened to her afterwards. And this series, I believe, is only 4 episodes. And you learn about what happened to Alyssa, but you also hear from conspiracy theorists, YouTubers, which that kind of like decreases its credibility, in my opinion, getting opinions from those people, because it's not professional, and it's just a lot of like, what if this happened? What if it's actually haunted? What if there was a murder? You know, it's just a lot of speculation when they know what happened to her. It is really interesting, and if you don't know the case and you want to hear more about the Cecil Hotel, which is a very infamous hotel in LA, check the series out. It's interesting if you don't know what happened. If you do know what happened, you're probably going to be like, ugh, this is amateur hour. But interesting, nonetheless, if you don't know what happened. Rewatched Annihilation with my dad, 4.5 out of 5 stars. I love this movie. I know it bombed at the box office, and it went to streaming in every other country outside of the US. But I think this was a really beautiful science fiction film that is inspired by Jeff Vandermeer's Southern Reach trilogy, but it makes it its own thing. It's got Natalie Portman, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Gina Rodriguez, Tessa Thompson. I can never remember the other actress's name. Tuva Novotny, Oscar Isaac. I love Oscar Isaac. It's directed by Alex Garland, who also directed one of my favorite movies of all time, Ex Machina. I said time really southern-like there. But it is a confusing movie, and you do have to do a lot of, you know, research afterwards. You have to pay attention to every single second. but it's so visually stunning, it's compelling, you're glued to the screen, if you like science fiction, that is. And it's just so good. It's so good. It's not as good as Ex Machina, but I really, really loved Annihilation, even on the second watch. And I think I picked up more on the second watch after previously watching it. So this is a movie that definitely benefits from watching it more than once. But if you haven't watched Annihilation, do so, because it's really good. Just be prepared. You gotta watch every single second. You can't be on your phone at all during this movie. I then watched Down Terrace again with my dad, because this was a movie I got for $1 at Dollar Tree. It's decent, 3 out of 5 stars. It's probably my least favorite Ben Wheatley film I've watched. Some parts really drag, and then some parts are just like, what the actual fudge happened right there? Some parts are so good, and some parts are just blah. So that's why it's 3 out of 5 stars, because it's so uneven, and yeah. It's uneven, and you can tell it's one of his earlier works. But, I mean, it's entertaining. It keeps your interest. It's just not one of his best, in my opinion. I watched I Care a Lot, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. Again, I watched this with my dad. I watch a lot of movies with my dad, okay? Don't judge me. This is on Netflix, and people either love or hate this movie with a passion. I loved it. The character that Rosamund Pike plays, Marla Grayson, is such an evil, diabolical character, but Rosamund Pike taps into what she tapped into when she played Amy Dunn in Gone Girl, and she's just so deliciously diabolical and evil and sadistic, and it's so much fun to watch her. And Eiza Gonzalez is also in this film. She is wonderful as Marla's girlfriend. Peter Dinklage. Great. I loved him in this movie. I pretty much loved everyone in this movie. Diane, is it Weist? I never learned how to say her name. I should learn. I should learn by now. She's really underutilized, but the part she's in, she's phenomenal. And I like the styling of the film, the visual aesthetic, the costume design. Oh my gosh, the costume design, especially for Marla, is gorgeous. This film is really interesting. I do see why people don't like it, because the character is really despicable. What they're doing is horrendous, but it's just fascinating, and I really, really liked it. I then watched Framing Britney Spears, which is really confusing to find on Hulu, because it's actually underneath the New Yorker, the New York Times Presents, and it's like episode 6. But this is the documentary on Britney Spears. It doesn't tread a lot of new ground if you know what's went on with Britney Spears, but you do learn more about how fame affected her psychologically, facts that weren't really released to the public about her mental health. That's the really interesting aspect of this documentary. You don't hear from Britney or her family members or anything like that. You hear from people she knew, who worked with her, or who were following her case really closely. It's interesting, though. It's not very long. It's like a little over an hour. And, I mean, if you're a Britney Spears fan, you're going to really like this, I think. If you don't know much about the Britney case, I think you'll find it interesting. If you know pretty much everything there is to know, you're not going to find much new here. But I found it enjoyable enough to give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. And the last movie I watched in February was the best one, and that is Minari. Oh my gosh. If you have not watched Minari, and you do not mind a film that mixes Korean and English together, watch this. It's wonderful. Steven Yeun, who was Glenn on The Walking Dead, is in this as the father, and he has he's phenomenal. He's so good. This movie is so good. I love the grandmother played by Ye Jung-yoon. She stole every scene. Alan Kim, the son, oh my gosh, he's so cute. He's so cute. I can't stand it. This movie is just about a family. The father's trying to be a farmer. They move to Arkansas. The mother wants to go back to California. They're immigrants from Korea. It's just such a beautiful movie. It tells the story of immigrants and how they struggle, and it's just a story about someone trying to fulfill their dreams, how he justifies putting his dreams and job over his family. And it's just this film that is magical, it's realistic, it's funny, it's sad. It's all these wonderful human emotions just in one film, and it's worthy of the best foreign language film awards. It's picked up at the Golden Globes and the Critics' Choice Awards. It's just a masterpiece, and I highly urge you check out Minari. It is something really special. Now let's talk about the TV I loved in February. First up is Kakushigoto, which is the anime I mentioned in the film portion. And if I said that too fast, it's Kakushigoto. And that is both the title of the anime and the character's name. The main character's name, the father. And this is an anime about a father. He is very loving and devoted. He is a single father raising his really, really cute, almost 10-year-old daughter named Hime. And it's just, he doesn't want to admit to her that he draws dirty manga for a living, so he's constantly hiding his job from her. She's always asking, "Where do you work, Dad?" And he's like, "I am a businessman. I work in an office." And it's just so fun to see how he justifies what he does for a living, how he hides it. His coworkers are always like, "Why don't you just tell her what you do?" "No, I can't. She'll think of me differently." It's just so adorable to see the bond between this father and his daughter, and it's so touching. It is funny. It's only streaming on Funimation, so if you don't have Funimation, that is an issue. But if you have Funimation, check it out. It's so, so sweet, and I loved it to pieces. And honestly, Funimation's my favorite streaming service for anime, so Kakushigoto, check it out. Also, anime I loved was Anohana, the flower we saw that day. The first 3 episodes I was very leery of, because the first 3 episodes, for some reason, are full of pervy moments that you know are targeted toward teenage boys, and I don't like that kind of stuff, so I was afraid the entire series would be like that. But luckily, after the first 3 episodes, they lay off that kind of stuff, and they really focus on the story of how, when this group of friends was really young, one of their friends named Minma died tragically. And she has now come back as a ghost, and only one member of the friend group can see her, but everyone else wants to see her, and they don't believe that he can see her. They think he's gone crazy. And it's just really a beautiful story about how these friends are coming together again after splintering apart after Minma's death. It is emotional. I cried unexpectedly. I did not expect to cry. And the animation's gorgeous. I just didn't like the first 3 episodes because it was really pervy. But it does get past that. It becomes more mature. And it's just a beautiful story. And I really want to watch the movie to see how things tie up. So I do recommend Anohana. Just know the first 3 episodes, if you don't like pervy elements, has a multitude of those. But after that, pretty much non-existent. I've also really been enjoying Resident Alien. I always want to call it Resident Evil, guys. It's a problem. This is a sci-fi original TV show, and it stars Alan Tudyk as an alien who impersonates this doctor named Dr. Harry Vanderspiegel, played and looks like Alan Tudyk. And it's just this alien impersonating Dr. Vanderspiegel and trying to pass as being human. And it's just so funny. He says the most inappropriate, stupid things, but it's hilarious. I've always loved Alan Tudyk. Well, as long as I've, been a fan of Firefly. I loved him as Wash, But anyway, he's great in this. He's always great. And there are some touching moments in this series that are kind of unexpected. It's sweet. It's funny. Definitely check out Resident Alien. And even though it is a sci-fi original series, it doesn't feel like a sci-fi original series. It feels like it has a higher budget than most of their stuff does. Definitely check it out. I've also started watching Attack on Titan. I just got to the 3rd season, so again, no spoilsies. I really love it. Every episode is so intense, and every episode is full of tragedy. But I love it. I love seeing how the scouts take down these titans, which are like hundreds of feet tall, and they're just like naked humans, but you don't see any parts. You don't see any bits, okay? You're fine. But it is very gory. You see people getting eaten because the titans eat people. You do see some horses kind of getting eaten and killed, which is disturbing for me. More disturbing than the humans, to be honest. So if you don't like seeing horses or humans get hurt, this show is not for you. But it is one of the most popular anime out there right now, and it is hyped for a reason because it's so good. So good. But, I mean, it is kind of intimidating to get into it because it's on its 4th and final season right now, so there are quite a few episodes. But it's really, really good. So if you want a good, action-packed horror war anime, definitely check out Attack on Titan. I also adored, and I mean adored, WandaVision on Disney+. I am a huge fan of the MCU, Marvel in general, and I love the characters of Wanda Maximoff and Vision, who are played wonderfully by Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany. And WandaVision starts off being kind of like a sitcom style show where every episode kind of parodies, you know, beloved sitcoms like I Love Lucy, Bewitched, Malcolm in the Middle, Modern Family, but then becomes something else. And I'm not going to say what, because if you haven't seen WandaVision, you should, and I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's so much more than it appears, and it really links into the upcoming Doctor Strange sequel, another sequel that I'm not going to say, and it just really fleshes out Wanda and Vision, and you really get to appreciate the characters more than you did in the Avengers films. I loved WandaVision. I think it's a work of genius, and I cannot wait to see the continuation of these characters. And lastly, the last show I've been loving in February and going into March has been Men in Kilts. I know that you get this image in your head when you hear Men in Kilts, like it's gonna be like some kind of like male stripper show, but they're in kilts. No. It is a reality show, but it's educational. It follows Sam Heughan. I know I mentioned him in Bloodshot. And Graham McTavish. They are both stars in Outlander, or were stars in Outlander in one person's case. And they just go around Scotland. They talk about witchcraft and superstition, food, song and dance. They talk about all these interesting topics, and they go to all these different locations in Scotland, and they tell you how to pronounce certain cities and things, and they give you the background on things. It's just really interesting, historical. Sam and Graham have this amazing romantic chemistry that is just, it's so delectable to watch. It's so good. It's so good, guys. Each episode's under 30 minutes long, so it's really easy to watch. It is only available on Starz at the moment, but I love this series, and I'm going to be so sad when this season ends. I really hope it gets renewed for a second, because these guys make me so happy every week to watch them just get up to crazy stuff in Scotland, and how they kind of just mess with each other and make fun of each other, but you can tell they really love each other. So check out Men in Kilts if you want to learn more about Scotland and see an epic bromance. And lastly, the game I really enjoyed in February is called Dry Drowning. I played it on the Switch, and I'm not going to talk too much about it because I do have a written review on the Gaming Outsider, which I will link in the description box below the video. But it's a visual novel / murder mystery where you play as a detective named Mordred Foley, and supposedly he and his partner, Hera, had found out who the Pandora killer was years ago, but now some murders are happening that follow the MO of the Pandora killer. So did Mordred actually catch the original Pandora killer, or did he persecute innocent people? That's the gist of the game. There are so many branching decisions and paths that you could play this multiple times and get a different ending or different story branches every single time. It's really beautifully animated, so check it out if you're into those genres and that kind of thing. But check out my review as well, because I love when people check out my written stuff. It makes me happy. So those are my favorites for February. Let me know what you've been loving recently, because no one remembers the past month. Just put it out of your mind. Just tell me what you love right now in the comment box. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you're new here but you haven't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button and make sure to tap the notification bell so you should be alerted, when I upload a new video. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Also, if you want to follow me and be friends on social media, those are all linked in the description box as well. I'm gonna go. Love you. Bye.